What's going on, guys? We're back at it again with another episode of True Capacity Talks. And today we have someone that I met when I was over at NLCA, Alex Brown of Strength and Harmony Coaching. First and foremost, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Doing great. It is a hot day in Texas, but we will survive.
Yeah, Austin, right?
Yeah.
Out in Austin. Yeah, I grew up in Houston. I love Texas. Love Texas. It's a solid place. So I want to kind of dive right in. Strength and Harmony in general, right? That stood out to me. I didn't know prior to doing a little bit of a deep dive that was your company. I didn't realize that that's what it was called. I think that's super solid. But can you kind of walk me through, first of all, naming? How'd you get there, right?
Okay.
And then number two, what does it mean? Like,
Yeah.
how does that look like in your coaching journey?
Yeah. Super good question. So I'm all about, messy action, just like let's freaking go, get it done. We'll iron out the details as we go. So when I started my fitness coaching company, it was just Alex Brown Fitness, right? Like classic. I'm like, you know what? That's great. Let's get to go. Let's do this. And I really wanted to iron out what my actual forever name would be. Once I kind of had a team and we built that culture, and I wanted to build a name around that. So I started Alex Brown Fitness in 2019, and then we rebranded to Strength and Harmony in the beginning of 2021, and had a coaches retreat. And with my assistant coaches and we kind of sat down and wrote down a bunch of words that we felt like embodied our culture. And of course, strength, harmony, balance, all those kind of words came up. And so we were just kind of brainstorming. And I actually messaged Kayla Diamond, who's one of my best friends. He's also a coach within NLCA. And I'm like, Kayla, we have all these words. What can we make from this? And I will give her credit. She actually came up with the name officially. And she's like, Strength and Harmony. That's great. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And we were all, just absolutely loving the name. And so from that, we're like, okay, what do we want our mission to be and our core tenets? Because obviously in NLCA, that's something that Chad talks about a lot, is having core tenets and a mission. And so I actually hired someone to get on a call with my team and I to kind of talk through what that should look like and how we can get creative there. So Strength and Harmony basically just means finding strength in all areas of your life and finding that harmony and balance, whether that's spirituality, whether that's just a life enjoyment, your work, whatever you're doing, finding a balance within that. Because we're not just here to help people, lose 20 pounds and send them on their way. We really want to help people create a lifestyle surrounding everything in their life. And we realize people are human, and there's so much more to life than just lose weight, eat broccoli, you know what I mean? So that's kind of where that came from.
Yeah. Okay. So that's actually a really cool, origination story there for the name. I didn't know that Kayla was so creative.
She is.
But she's a solid coach too, as well. The Strength and Harmony, in general, you say, hey, it's more than just, eating broccoli and losing weight.
Yeah.
What are the foci? What does a Strength and Harmony coach focus on with new people that are coming in to make sure that it's harmonious across everywhere in their life?
Yeah, 100%. So it kind of comes back to my background. So my background is as a nurse. I worked as a med-surg nurse for a while before I even, started my business. And honestly, starting this business and jumping into this lifestyle was honestly all by accident. I never set out to make this happen. But here we are, and I absolutely love where the universe has taken things for my life and the people around me. So anyways, within that, a nurse and someone in healthcare has certain challenges. So we tend to work with a lot of people in healthcare, a lot of busy moms and a lot of teachers. And between those three groups, we work with kind of three main challenges. Number one being time efficiency. And I say that purposely, not time management, because if you think of moms with multiple kids, if you think of nurses running around the hospital and teachers trying to balance everything, they're great at time management, but sometimes the time efficiency escapes us, meaning that when we look at our goals and our priorities, sometimes we're not the best at figuring out how to be super efficient within that. And we feel like, well, if we can't do it right, we're not going to do it at all, kind of thing. So being more efficient with our own priorities. Number two is going to be just prioritizing themselves. So if you think, again, of healthcare workers, teachers, moms, the first thing you probably think of is like very selfless or crazy, but definitely
Both.
self. And so there is this like certain aspect of guilt around putting energy, effort, time into things for yourself that doesn't relate to your patients, students, and kids. So helping them to realize that if you are pouring into yourself, you actually have more to give to others. And then number three is, balancing within nutrition, of course, like not going that 0 to 100 approach, and really understanding that it's okay to eat Oreos and ice cream. And actually, I recommend that. If I had a coach that told me I couldn't eat ice cream, I would literally die. So knowing that that's okay from time to time and just balancing that. Yeah.
Great answer. Let's back up to the med-surg nurse.
Yep.
For people that don't have sisters, brothers, family members, spouses in healthcare, can you define a med-surg nurse specifically?
Yeah. So medical surgical nurse is kind of what that stands for. So really it is just a hodgepodge, like literally whatever they want to throw at us. You just never know what's coming that day. It is, gosh, like we had kind of a specialty, but it was really like overflow of whatever the heck they wanted to throw at us. Like, for example, I worked at Ohio State University in my med surg unit, and we were liver floor specialty. So we worked with a lot of like alcohol cirrhosis or NASH cirrhosis, things like that. So a lot of very like confused, very sick patients. We also were the overflow unit for the prison ward. So we actually had a very interesting prison population, which was definitely kept us on our toes. And we worked with a lot of people that had like kidney issues as well. So bringing people back and forth from dialysis. So it's really just a lot of everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You seem full of life and even fired up talking about the time that you did as a med surg nurse. Like, why the heck did you leave it?
That's a great question. Like I said, I never meant to leave it. Again, it just like happened that way. So, in the hospital, it's tough. Like you get quite literally like battered and bruised, spit on, defecated on, just abused, used and abused as a nurse. Honestly, it's tough mentally. You watch people like die and you have to like go into the next room like nothing happened, So emotionally, physically, it's really, really tough. And as I was, working full time as a nurse, it's 3 days a week, usually like 3/12s. So I had 4 days a week to do whatever the heck I wanted. So in that time, I had my own coach at the time, and I was like, you know what? I really love this process. I was a college athlete, so like having a coach was something that was super important to me. And so I was like, you know what? I love the gym. I love this process of like having a coach for like my health and fitness. I love like working out at LA Fitness. I think I'm just gonna be a trainer at LA Fitness on my days off. So I started doing that, and it kind of got to the point, and like no shade on like LA Fitness trainers. Honestly, you guys are freaking amazing because I met some really dope trainers in there. But we were literally told that you couldn't really help your clients with nutrition. You couldn't really give them that extra accountability. And I was actually kind of like slapped on the wrist for giving them extra accountability and like texting them outside of them just like coming in and working with me at the gym. And as a nurse, I didn't know a single thing about fit or business, sales, marketing, didn't know. I have this like crazy delusion that I can kind of like do anything. I don't know why. So I was like, you know what? I'm starting my own business, and quit there, started my own thing with not a knowledge in the world of how. And it kind of just became what it is like 9 months later. So that was in 2019. In June of 2020, I was able to quit nursing full time, or quit nursing and go full time within my business, and never really looked back. And I still see like what I do as a portion of healthcare, but it's like more proactive, you know what I mean? Rather than waiting till someone's like on the bedside in front of me, it's just more proactive, and I absolutely love what we do.
At the time that you started, so you were working with a coach. At the time that you started coaching though at LA Fitness. How long had you been in nursing?
A little over 4 years.
Okay. So you've done 4 years at Ohio State? Like
Yes.
same place?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you stayed there that long in that role. My sister was a pediatric hemoc nurse at Choa in Atlanta, and she within like 16 months left that and went and did labor and delivery because of exactly what you were talking about, the amount of death, the amount of kids that she's having to see go through that. I can't imagine being in where you're at. Also, with being in law enforcement previously myself, I know what it looks like, people coming from, like when people are getting sent to the hospital, I know what kind of shape those people are in from prison and jail. And that couldn't have been something that was super fun to deal with all the time.
Totally. Definitely kept you on your toes. Definitely was interesting for sure. And I think I am very, very lucky. And the universe definitely had a plan for me because I got out really right at the time where COVID was ramping up. So I kind of saw like the beginning stages of that and the mental toll that, you know, COVID and like being in the hospital had on, you know, the people that I worked with. Like I can't imagine going through that. Yeah.
Okay. So you're there 4 years, right? Did you in the beginning grab a coach yourself because you were trying to lose X amount of weight? You're trying to recomp? Like what was your goal and what did your health look like while you were working those 4 years?
Yeah. So, like I said, I was a college athlete. So once I was done and I swam, and once I was done with that, I was like, well, this is a weird adjustment to real life. I am now told where to be at what time and what we're doing and how to work out and how to eat and all these things. And it was just very, like, I felt lost. So it was more just like the time was more just like a security blanket kind of thing. Like I miss having a coach. Like I miss like having that accountability. 'Cause the accountability portion is huge. You know, I know what to do. It's just like having that person there that like it gives you that like reassurance and that game plan. And I find that super, super helpful. And shout out to Alex Bush. She was my first coach and my only coach I've ever had. I worked with him for years and years. And thank you for having me, Alex.
That's wonderful. Do you find that just like you with Alex Bush there, do you think a lot of your clients are in similar positions where they know what to do? They just need the accountability?
I would say for sure. Once they kind of get a decent amount of time with us, I think a lot of people don't really come from my like same background, like as an athlete, I would say. So they do have like a lot of like, you know, education and like learning like the why behind why they're doing what they're doing and finding that balance. But I think honestly, after, you know, a year of working with us, why people continue to stay is not necessarily that they don't know what to do. It's just that they love the community, they love the accountability, and they're totally like bought in with our mission and like what we're doing. And yeah,
your typical, let's say your average client that comes in, right, that is in one of those underserved communities that seem to serve everyone else at the detriment of themselves. How long do they normally stay with you?
Our average length of term for a client is around 9 to 10 months. So
damn,
yeah,
y'all doing something right over there.
Yeah, it's fun. We have clients that have been with us for over 3 years now. We have clients that are just getting started. So it's really cool to see that journey.
Yeah. And so speaking of the, you know, people in healthcare, teachers, the target demo that you serve, how much do you think in the beginning with you, it comes down to the psychology behind like rewiring the habits they need to have because they're so used to the MO is show up for everyone, show up for everyone, show up for everyone. Don't eat what I want to. Don't work out when I need to. Don't walk when I feel like I need a break. Like how much do you think that you push on the psychology side as opposed to just like, hey, here's your daily process goals?
Yeah, I mean, you have to do that because if you just tell someone what to do and they blindly follow it, cool, they're great at following directions. That doesn't really teach them exactly like what to do or teach them what to do for the long run. That's a big reason why personally in like my own business, we don't do meal plans either is because...
Ooh, dig into that. Talk to me about that. That's I know that was on your website, but you're one of the few people that I've heard do that.
Yeah, so we do not do meal plans. And no shade to people that have the actual knowledge and education to do that appropriately. But we feel like with our type of clients, if we just gave people, okay, eat, 1 cup of oats in the morning and 30 grams of blueberries or, whatever it is, then we're teaching them how to follow orders and how to follow directions, but not necessarily like how to build the skills to actually take this on into the rest of their life. So like you said, it's like a lot of teaching the why behind things and the science behind things, or else they're just like learning how to follow directions. So we really want to help people build the skills for the rest of their life. I literally tell people on sales calls when I was taking sales calls for my business is like, my whole goal is not to keep you here, not to make you feel like you have to rely on a coach or a program or a diet for the rest of your life. Like, I truly want you to feel like, wow, I have learned so much, accomplished so much, and I can either go spread my wings and fly away, or I just like hanging out with you guys and I'm going to stay forever. And that's fine with me too.
Got it. And so can you give me like one example of how you would maybe instruct someone that like, hey Alex, I don't know how to do breakfast, right? For my goals, my body fat percentage is higher than I want it to be. I really am trying to lose fat. And also you're getting me back in the gym. Haven't been in the gym in ages. You won't give them specific recommendations or specific numbers or foods necessarily to eat for breakfast, but like, how would you approach that for somebody that has no idea what the hell they're doing and usually drives through Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, etc.?
Yeah, definitely. First of all, love a good Chick-fil-A.
Same.
Yeah, love that diet lemonade. Oh, so good. But you got me sidetracked. But for the breakfast portion of things, so we don't like to overwhelm people right off the bat, because, a lot of the times if you're just like, okay, here's your macros, how are you going to hit these exactly? It's like I didn't even know. Like, what is a macro?
Also, time out. You can cuss as much as you want on this. Don't
okay,
censor yourself if you want, but you can say fuck, shit, bitch. You can say whatever you want, right? I mark it explicit on YouTube, and it's not for kids on YouTube and on streaming. So like, do not censor yourself. Go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Because I didn't know. So
yeah, you're good.
Anyways, so yeah, they're like, what the fuck is even a macro? So basically, we take it in steps. So when a client signs on with us, we first of all just teach them how to track and like give them some direction there first. Because when we go to give them goals, we don't want it to be like way above or way below what they're already doing. We want it to be challenging but attainable for them. So we first want to teach people even how to do that. Because chances are, if they're tracking their food, they're going to be more mindful of what they're eating anyway. Because chances are they really haven't even sat down and taken a look at what they're eating in a day, and they're just eating whatever and going about their day. So that's probably even going to be the first biggest change. And then from there, we can give them some rough goals for like their calories overall throughout the day, and we give them kind of a range to hit. So there's a lot of like flexibility in what they choose to eat at first. And then we bounce up once they've got a good grasp on that to giving them a protein goal. So within that, we mentioned like breakfast. They're like, oh my gosh, I've literally only eaten 80 grams of protein per day, maybe most of my life. So how the heck am I supposed to hit like 120, 130, 140 grams? And so we try to teach them how to break it down into each meal. And then once we kind of get a good grasp on that, we'll move up to like full macros. Sometimes we won't even get there with some clients because they don't really need that degree of specificity if they don't have, I don't know. We just don't get there with everybody.
Yeah. No, I think that's a solid way to go. Basically, hey, we're gonna understand what we're putting in our body, right? Then we're going to hit attainable goals around specific things. And I love that you said protein, because that's definitely the easiest thing to track, in my opinion. It seems to have the least negative downstream effects for people's psychology, as compared to, tracking your carbs for the day or tracking your fat for the day. People seem to obsess, at least in my world. Probably the same with you. And then, yeah, I think that's also an interesting way to go, to not always just push to macros. I feel like a lot of us online, coaching programs, coaches that are individual, coaches that are then also doing hybrid, I think we lean on macros a little bit too much because of our understanding of nutrition. I
Right.
think it causes big problems for people that maybe have more neurotic tendencies or maybe have so many other things in their life where they have decision fatigue. That then I know for me, if I give macros to the wrong person, their ass might not hit any nutrition anywhere close to what I need them to hit because they're hyper focused on it.
It can for sure be overwhelming. I know like when I first started with my coach, it was just like macros right off the bat. And like I said in the beginning, I'm a messy action kind of person. So I'll figure it the fuck out. But not everyone's like that.
Yeah.
I would say most people are not like that. So if they got that, they would be like, yeah, I'm not doing this. So honestly, and that's not what most, like the majority of general population needs. Like they don't need like a certain protein, carb, fat ratio. Like they just need to learn how to, have more nutrient dense foods. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah. No, and I think that's important. How does Strength and Harmony approach resistance training, strength training, steady state cardio versus higher intensity cardio?
Yeah. So as you might know, my Instagram is Alex Hates Running. So definitely not a big fan of running per se. I would say most cardio, not a huge fan of. But, obviously I understand the importance of that for your heart health and everything. So we kind of approach it in kind of a similar fashion where it's not like we are going to cardio you to death or run you to death or things like that. It's definitely more of a resistance training, bodybuilding style type of training that we approach for our clients, less like, what I want to say, like circuits or like HIIT or things like that, and more of like a slow and controlled movement, learning how to get comfortable with, barbells, dumbbells, because honestly, as women also, there's just something so empowering and makes you feel so confident when you can get up there to the barbell and feel like a badass, or get up there and surrounded by all the guys in front of the dumbbells, in front of the mirror that are grunting and groaning and being weird. There's something so empowering about like picking up those heavy dumbbells and being able to feel like comfortable and confident in that,
Yeah. Muscle mommies everywhere.
Yes.
Is essentially what it sounds like.
That's our mission.
Yeah, that's funny. When you're talking about weight training, are we talking about more of a bro split, which would be, like a push pull, like biceps, triceps? Are we more talking about full body multiple times a week? Like, do you really try to get people in there every day? Like, I'm curious because I know everyone does it differently and everyone swears by the way that they do it for themselves. But I'm very curious how y'all attack that, especially with these people that don't necessarily, like, obviously you got to prioritize time and you're talking about being time efficient, but they don't have all the time in the world. Like perhaps maybe, and I don't even want to generalize and say you and I do, they might not have as much time in the day to allocate towards that with all of the other have to responsibilities as maybe you and I might be able to hit 5 days a week. Right. So how does that look like for your clients, strength training wise?
So it really is dependent on the person. I wouldn't say if there's like this way we do it. It's very, very client dependent. Like everything we do is very like personalized to them. So if they need to work out at home, we will create a workout program for them. If they want to do a hybrid method, cool. If they want to work out in the gym, cool. So within that, then we kind of break it down. Okay, how many days per week do we feel like we can actually spend strength training? Is that, 3, 4? Honestly, I don't know if we have any clients that really go above like 4 or 5, maybe. Nobody spends every day in the gym. Honestly, this might be a hot take for some people out there, but if you work out every day of the week, you obviously didn't go hard enough on one of those days because we need some recovery. So maybe audit yourself about how hard your workouts are if you feel like you can work out every single day. But for that, if someone's working out, 3 days a week, we might do like a anterior, posterior, full body, or like upper, lower, full body. Because honestly, like the type of clients we work with, again, it's more like lifestyle rather than athlete or bodybuilding. So we don't really need any specific like bro split or anything like that. It's just, let's move your body.
Yeah, no, I like that. I was just curious because I know that our whole team, I'm like, stop programming people 4 or 5 days a week. Like
Yeah.
if we can't slide the volume into 3 sessions a week, these are not people that are trying to compete. These are not people that are willing to even meal prep all of their food, right? To hit
Yeah.
the macros that they would need to for the right energy to be working out like they're not there. Stop programming for yourself. Do you find that sometimes you have to maybe remind yourself or your coaches that like they're programming for other people that are not them?
I think they do a really, really good job because all of them also are more just like lifestyle type of women as well. So I think they actually do, a very good job of that. But I have caught myself, and probably like our coaches are maybe guilty of this too, with content and things like that, trying to make it sound so smart. And it's like, we're not making content or things like that for other coaches. We're making content for our ideal type of client and the people that want to work with us. And they literally don't care how sciencey it sounds. So I would say in that aspect for sure.
Yeah, I think it's the same way that when you're talking in content, and I think we're all kind of guilty of this a little bit here and there, where when we start using words that other coaches would know or people in education would know in these spaces and regular people wouldn't know. Like most people, I mean, unless you're in medicine or you're in fitness or biomechanics or what have you, how many people really know the difference between anterior and posterior? Dorsiflexion, plantar flexion. Like how many people legitimately know the difference?
Probably would not know. Yeah.
So I think it's interesting. I think it's totally cool to use the word and then define it. Right. But something that I'm guilty of on this podcast, solo recording and with interviews, is sometimes using acronyms that I assume that a lot of people know. Right. That then someone's like, James, you said that 9 times. I don't know what the hell that is.
Exactly.
Use the 3-letter acronym to reference something. I've no like BSS. What is that, James?
Yeah.
Like, totally. It's Bulgarian split squat. What do you mean? Like super easy. No,
right.
No.
We don't even think about it sometimes. I mean, like I mentioned like macros before, like there's so many people that have no idea what that is. Actually, it's really funny because if you were to scroll on my Instagram down to like one of my very first posts, I literally sarcastically put in like a hashtag like great macros or fits my macros because I just had always heard that word, but I had no idea what it meant. So I use that sarcastically. So I think back to myself, like, wow, yeah, I didn't even know what that meant.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good distinction. Now, I'm curious. Obviously, you're not a huge cardio proponent, but what did running do to you? How did it hurt you and when?
I don't even know. There was 1 year in high school that I did track, but yeah, I don't know. I just woke up one day and I think I just hated running. I am, I would say I'm pretty athletic, but definitely in the water because like I said, I was a swimmer. Land sports are a little bit more of a challenge for me. So yeah, I think I was just like, I don't know. Land sports are just a struggle. Yeah.
Do you still swim to this day?
I literally hung up my cap and goggles, my last meet, and never swam a single lap again. And that was years and years ago now. So no, I have not. But I think I just got so burnt out of it. And I was just, you know what? Time for a new chapter. So, like I said, I hired my own coach for a while and, I competed in CrossFit. I competed in bodybuilding. I tried a bunch of different things and I like to challenge myself in new ways. If I'm feeling bored, that's a problem. So I have to do new things.
Yeah. Walk me through the competition side. So you get a coach. Did you immediately start trying to compete in CrossFit there or bodybuilding? Like walk me through that.
Yeah, actually CrossFit came first. So it was really fun. That was straight out of college. I kind of dabbled in CrossFit. And it's so funny. I had just gotten a targeted ad on Instagram that was one free day at CrossFit. I'm like, sick, let's do it. So man, these ads work, I'm telling you. But I went in there and it was just such a cool community. Honestly, I don't like working out CrossFit-ish anymore, but I will always say the community was so amazing, like nothing else. So that's really what got me so into that. I made some of my best friends in there at the time, and we were doing like 2-a-days just because we loved it. So if someone is looking to get active, see, CrossFit's a really fun way because you meet a lot of people and meet a lot of fun friends. It was kind of hard on my body. So then I switched over to more like bodybuilding style lifting, actually working out in like, a gym, like I said, LA Fitness.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of when like I hired my coach. And obviously Alex, but she's a bodybuilding coach, and got into personal training myself. So yeah, but very competitive. I am like very, very competitive. Always like to level up, challenge myself.
Yeah. Were you doing any local competitions, solo or team?
Yes, both. Actually, that's a lie. Only not solo. Sorry, you asked me too fast. So, like pairs and like group competitions, I would say. So local things. I was not going to the CrossFit Games, that is for sure. But it was just fun to compete with like my friend and some like group settings.
Yeah. Had you had any exposure to Olympic lifting, gymnastics, or anything that's more high technical skills before you came into CrossFit at all?
Gymnastics I did when I was like 12 years old. So I did have that, and honestly, some of those skills like stuck with me, like the handstand walks and handstand push-ups, things like that. I actually loved that, like the pull-ups, the muscle-ups, things like that. That was my favorite part. I did not really love the Olympic lifting portion so much. I felt like that was so hard on my body, but the gymnastics part I loved.
When you say it's so hard on your body, how much time a week were you spending mobilizing?
Like, what do you
Doing
mean
overhead mobility stuff, like doing SOTS presses, doing duck walks, doing overhead duck walks. Like outside of class, how much time are you spending actually mobilizing to put yourself in a position where none?
Zero.
Yeah.
I was not setting myself up for success. I would go in there and just fuck around and find out. I mean, we found out.
Yeah.
I never got hurt, but I did, like, I probably would have put myself in the position to get hurt because, like I said, competitive. So I was trying to like outlift people, do things faster than people, and sometimes with not the best form, let's be honest.
Makes sense. Sometimes the AMRAP will sneak up on you and you're like, my friend is 20 pounds heavier than me, and I'm going to beat her or him in this workout lifting the same weight because I can.
Exactly. So that's the journey. That's where it started.
I had similar experiences with putting myself in compromising positions, doing Olympic weightlifting before I did a lot of mobilization, right? Like in CrossFit, because I mean, in a 60-minute class, you're not really going to be warm to go work up to a heavy double without taking your hands off and then go into a Metcon. I mean, if you're not doing mobilization outside, good luck. Like you're not going to open your lats fast enough. Or open your shoulders fast enough. So that definitely makes sense. I'm curious now. So you did like some local stuff in CrossFit, then you jumped into the bodybuilding. You got a coach for that. Was the impetus for that competition, or was it composition change, or was it just a new challenge?
Definitely new challenge and competition. So when I started kind of dabbling into bodybuilding style of lifting, I honestly had no intent to really compete as a bodybuilder, but I did have the intent to challenge myself in new ways. So that was kind of my whole intent behind that. And as I was working with Alex for probably like a couple years before I was like, you know what, I kind of want to try my hand at stepping on stage. And so he was like, oh, hell yeah, let's go. So then with that, it's so interesting because everyone says like show day, like it's awesome, like the glam and you're on stage and the lights and the posing. That's great. But show day was honestly my least favorite part of prep. My favorite part, and I'm going to sound like a psychopath, was those days where I didn't even think I had enough energy to like get out of bed. Yeah, I did my cardio, I did my workout, I did, X, Y, and Z, hit my macros to a T, and like doing that day after day after day after day, looking back was like my favorite part in that challenge, because we are so much more capable than what we think we are. And I knew, like, as I was going through that I could relate to my clients in that way when they're like, I can get this workout, and you can. It's where you put your priorities, you know? So yeah, that was my favorite part of bodybuilding prep. Will I ever do it again? Maybe. The door's open. Who knows?
Yeah. Did you step on stage?
I did. Yeah. I've competed twice. Yeah.
How'd you do?
I got, actually, you see my little trophy up here.
Oh, hello.
With all my plants. But I got second. And that's my second place trophy. And the other ones, I literally don't even remember. I feel like I got like second or third, but again, that like wasn't even, I didn't even really care that much. It was like, I just loved the grind.
Yeah. I mean, to get second or third, did you have the juice to do that?
No, I did not. But honestly, to be like super competitive at like the national level, I'm not saying you have to, but it would definitely put you at an advantage these days for sure.
Wow. But point to me somebody that's in the non-natty divisions that is not juicing, that is massive. Like, point to me one person. I know someone that is super, super shredded, very large human, is literally in a God, I forget what it's called. His name's Sam Okunala, and he is in a natural bodybuilding. I don't want to call it a league. I guess it is. It's some sort of promotion, but they get tested. And I mean, obviously nothing is foolproof, but he himself is in there because he doesn't want to juice, right? He wants to do it natty. But I've never come across anyone personally. And we've got a decent amount of bodybuilders that do pretty well up north side of Atlanta that do very well on the national level. I don't know a single one of them that doesn't juice.
Yeah, it's very common.
How do you like? I don't know how you would physically get that big and stay that lean year round. Period.
I don't think you can. I mean, you're just not gonna. Honestly, okay. I will say this: I'm not like opposed to it per se, because honestly, the leanness level that you have to get through to as a bodybuilder, sometimes doing it naturally is almost more unhealthy on your body than using a little bit of help in whatever way that looks like, because it really does like help you get to that point in almost in like a safer way for your body. So, you know, for example, myself doing it naturally, it was like 20 to 25 weeks where I was like grinding, you know, that's like half a year. Almost. It's like getting close.
Yeah.
So if you can kind of shorten that time span a little bit by utilizing some help in a safe way, where you're getting your labs tested and you are under supervision by a coach that is extremely knowledgeable, then sometimes it can, you know, be better for you.
Yeah. I would say the disclaimer to that is that you need to be under supervision, probably from an endocrinologist or a hormone doc, and then also a coach that speak together. Because I've got a very close friend that trusted her coach, but didn't have a doctor looking over her, and has all of the negative side effects of basically male level TRT. And, you know, we don't have to go into any of that here, but I'm sure you could guess what that looks like, you know, hair growth, etc., you know, voice changing, like none of the things that she wanted when she got on it. Wanted to be in a different place, take down body fat percentage, and get herself back solid after coming off birth control. Did not go that way. It actually went the other way. And it's super unfortunate because a lot of that stuff is irreversible, right? Like you're not going to come back from it. You're not just going to jump your voice back up. So that's super frustrating. I do think though that a lot of people do it healthy, right? Healthy, I guess you could say, like supervised. And also it's like, look, I don't see a need for me to be taking TRT, but I'm also not going to sit here and shame anyone that does. Like, it's your own body. Do what the hell you want to do, right? And on that, I'm curious what you think about semaglutide.
I honestly don't know what that is.
So. Ozempic?
Oh, Ozempic. Okay.
That's a brand name. Yeah.
Like, I couldn't tell you. Don't have an opinion. That's tough because...
Ooh, dig into it.
Yeah, no, it's tough because like it's so glamorized. And honestly, I think it's kind of sick because it's literally for like a medical diagnosis, not necessarily to like help you lose weight. And these people are like pushing it, and like, I'll see like reels on like Instagram making like light of it, and I'm just like, that's not, it's just sick for like a lifestyle purpose. I don't know, I'm not a fan. I just don't think it's sustainable, and I think you're doing like more harm to yourself in the long run. And it brings me back to like early 2000s vibes where we, these just like crazy fad diets and these like crazy things that we would do to our bodies, or maybe we saw like our moms do, or women, influential women in our lives do. And I just think it's not setting the correct standard. I feel like we were moving in a good direction, and now it's like, no.
Yeah, we also don't have any long-term data on the weight loss side. Obviously, intervention to diabetes, etc. Like, we do have some data there, but we don't have long-term studies or any empirical data on any of these. Ozempic, Manjaro, Wegovy, right? We just don't have it. Like, it hasn't been approved for weight loss long enough by the FDA for us to even have data on it. So like people are doing a whole lot of like quick pump, right? It's like people taking HCG, right? Not HGH, but HCG for weight loss. I mean, there's risks, right? There's risk, and we don't have data. And so I also can't get necessarily on board if it's not going to come side by side with habit change. Like, if you're not going to try to eat better, if you're not going to try to lift weights, like, we're talking about an appetite suppressant that lowers your bone density, rips out your muscle tissue, right? And helps you lose fat, right? It takes down all three because you stop eating. So if you're not going to do the other things.
Yeah.
You what?
I said, but yeah, people don't care. Like, people literally don't care. They're like, oh, I lose body weight, and everything else is just like, yeah.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they lose weight in general. Body fat is a byproduct of not eating. But it's interesting when you see people rebound. I had a client that was on Manjaro. She was type 2 diabetic, was on Manjaro, and lost like 30 pounds in, I don't know, like 6 weeks, right? 30 without any lifestyle intervention. Literally just took Manjaro, nothing else. Absolutely nothing else. Came in with me, and she didn't stay for more than a month because she started to wean off of that.
Yeah.
Right. And had to change things, and then just churned right out. Was like, I'm just going to go take this medicine again. Like, I don't want to do all this shit.
Yeah. And yeah, what are like the long-term effects of that? Like, it's that people, of course, we talk about it all the time, but want like a quick fix and without thinking of like long-term effects. And yeah, that's tough. I think with anything, you have to have like all of the, if you're going to like supplement with anything, you need to have kind of your ducks in a row of your basics first. Like nutrient dense foods, you have, a good routine, things like that before adding anything in, and kind of like goes along the same lines of, steroid usage and bodybuilders and things like that. Cool. Yeah, those are helpful, but you also like can't rely on those things. You need to have the basics down before you add anything in. So I think that's like where the biggest disconnect is for sure.
Yeah. Cause it's like Bradley, do you know who Bradley Martin is? Raw Talk, massive. He owns Zoo Culture in I think it's Vegas or LA. He owns 2 massive gyms. Anyways, he was talking the other day on his podcast about people dosing TRT and DECA and all kinds of other stuff before they've ever hit their natural peak, like without ever putting work into the gym. They just want to start juicing because they're going to gain a bunch of weight, but have never actually worked out consistently before they've done it. Like, you can't turn that back.
Yeah, not the move, not the vibe for sure. Because there's so much potential, especially like, we talk about like newbie gains. If you've never done anything, you're going to progress so fast. You don't need that. Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to progress so fast on 10 sets per muscle group per week, where the rest of us is going to take 15 to 20. The rest of us is going to take a whole lot more time in the gym, lifting a whole lot heavier to try to get the same gains that you'll get from being brand new.
Absolutely.
Wild. So with you talking about strength and harmony, right? It sounds in and of itself, and I know we went over the origin, right? It sounds kind of poetic. Is there any kind of creative back end that you feel that you go through, that that you and your coaches go through, or is there like any kind of creative flair here outside of just the naming?
I would say that's very interesting, and I appreciate it because I would honestly see myself as one of the least creative people on the earth. I feel like I'm very like analytical and like numbers, math, things like that. So they think our brand is poetic is very special. So when we came up with it, like I said, we had our coaches retreat. We all just kind of like sat down, set like our intentions for the growth of the company. And I think it's important that when you have a team to have everyone be totally like bought into the mission and the tenets and what you're doing, and almost have everyone be a part of the creation of the culture of that, whether that was from the beginning or as you continue to build upon the culture and you bring on new staff members, because that is, the biggest reason why I feel like our coaching team is so solid, because everyone's so bought in and they know that they have a voice and a big part of that culture that we put out there. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you source these coaches? Like, how did you know that your decision to hire these coaches, to get them bought in on the tenets and on the brand and the harmony that is y'all's team? Like, how did you have the confidence to grab these people? And how did you know that they were the right people?
Yeah, that's a super good question. And it kind of has a little bit of a funny story. Like I said, I take messy action and I'm not afraid to kind of like figure things out as we go. But I also feel like, I don't know, I've always felt like the universe kind of puts things in front of me that I have the opportunity to take action on. And, any like really like big decision in my life has been like a boom, I know it. And I just like, it comes to me. It's almost like a download in my brain. I'm like, I know this. Me and my friends always use the term download. We get like downloads from the universe. You know what I mean?
I think that comes from usage of other things. I think that's where you got that terminology from.
That would 100%. So, but even before that, I would just get these like downloads. I didn't know what to call them at the time. But for example, things like quitting nursing. That was just almost like a boom. I know I need to do that. Or moving from Columbus to Austin, Texas. That was just like a spur of the moment. Like I feel in my heart that I need to do this, because we'd actually like bought land. We were building a house and everything like that at the time. And we just up and left. We just up and left it, sold our land, moved across the country, just like boom. And that's a kind of like another thing with bringing it back to the coaches is I had started my business at the time, was kind of like growing to the point where I definitely needed help with the coaching side of things. And just, I think everybody that knows me knows this. But I'm not like super, super passionate about like the coaching side of things per se. I'm more passionate about the business side of things. So when I knew I needed to like bring on a coach to make the coaching even like better and better within our business, I was just like searching through people that I saw like on Instagram in Columbus, and I ran across the Instagram of Lydia, and she is like my right-hand gal, and I just randomly slid into her DMs. I was like, hey girl, would love to get a workout in with you, just looking for some friends in the area. Meanwhile, I knew in my head I was looking for a coach. So got a workout in with her, got her vibe, absolutely loved her. We hit it off immediately. And we went out for smoothies afterwards, and I asked her to be my AC. No interview. Nothing was done. Just met this girl. But she's been with me for 3 years next month. And I wouldn't be where I am without her. And again, just like the download, the universe was like, yes, this is your person. And it was like, I just had to like take the action and opportunity to say yes to that. I think that's a lot of things in life, though, is just like saying yes to opportunity and seeing where that takes you,
Yeah, it sounds like your life is maybe defined by having the default answer be yes, and maybe you have to justify to yourself why it would be no.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that's accurate?
I would say that's pretty accurate. I think if there is opportunity to expand in some way, whether that's like educationally or in just like more of a fun experience type of way, or to just broaden like life experience in general, I think that is definitely yes is the default answer, and we'll figure it out along the way.
Well, I think that's a beautiful thing to have, because I think most people are, default no. Like, give me all the reasons why I need to do this, not give me a reason why I shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's, I mean, it's probably what sets you up on a growth path, right? Being open to what you can be taught and what you can be shown. I want to respect your time here. I really just got a few last questions. And one is, someone doesn't know Alex Brown, doesn't know Alex hates running. What did running do to you? Doesn't know you. What is one thing that they wouldn't be able to figure out by just looking at your Instagram, looking at testimonials, looking at the coaching page or your blog, that you want them to know?
That's a special question. I would say something that you like wouldn't know about me is I'm like fiercely, fiercely, fiercely loyal to my people and the people I care about and my missions that I feel like I'm on in life. And I am so like protective and will go so hard for the people that are in my life. And every person that's in my life is there for a reason. And I feel like I don't just have people around me that are service level or like I'll talk to, chit chat. When I meet someone, I go so deep right off the bat. So if you are not ready to take that leap, that's okay. You're just probably not going to be that close with me. So for example, when I met my best friend in the world, Rachel Gillespie, she's a absolute badass. But when I first moved to Austin, I just found her on Instagram. I'm constantly sliding into people's DMs apparently, but got her for a coffee date, and we immediately had like the deepest conversation. Like, what are your intentions with like friendships, or like what are you looking to get out of like friends? And I feel like I just go so deep with people and build such like strong connections that we're like, connected for life kind of thing. So I feel like you wouldn't know that by just me on the internet. So that might be something special.
I think that people would know that about you by the way that you show up, though, if they're in any groups with you. Because I think that I asked you one single question when I was at NLCA in the DMs on WhatsApp about something that someone else had said, to get your honest feedback. And you took the time out of your day at the time to send me back a 4-minute voice memo breaking down all of the yays, nays for this, your personal experience, and the willingness to chat further if I needed it to make a decision on something. I think that speaks to exactly what you were just saying. Like, it's whole ass in or it's whole ass out. Like, either you want me for everything that I am, right? Yeah. And obviously context is different, romantically, platonically, business-wise, whatever. I'm not saying that, but either I'm whole ass in and showing up for you the way that I know how, or you probably shouldn't reach out to me, because you're not going to get half in, half out, Alex.
100%. I'm very 0 to 100 gal, I guess, in all ways. Like, if we have that connection, I will be all in for you. And yeah, just be prepared for that. I'm not a service level gal or someone that just wants to chat the weather. Like, I will ask you your deepest dreams and aspirations and how we're going to get there and create a roadmap for you with you. So yeah.
I think we need more people like that. Thank you for showing up like that. One last question and we'll get you out of here. Where do you think you have a deficit in your character that you need to improve to level up to the next place?
Very good question. Deficit in my character. I would say a journey that I'm on currently is letting in more emotion, because like I said before, I'm very like analytical. I'm very like black and white kind of person. I don't like show a ton of emotion other than maybe like excitement. So a journey that I'm on is allowing more emotion into my life and knowing that it's okay to like feel feelings and where that kind of leads you in that journey. And just giving, my body and my energy and my, I don't know, like my person to experience things in a new way that I haven't before. And I think unlocking that will allow me to level up in ways that I haven't been before.
Great answer. Great answer. It's almost like you got these questions before, but you didn't. So solid on the spot answer. I appreciate you being here. Where can the people find you right after this podcast? And obviously I'll link anything that you share below. But where can they find you? How can they get in touch with you if they feel like you're their person or your crew is there? Are there people for coaching? How can they inquire about that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on Instagram at Alex Hates Running, as we said, or you can find our team on Instagram at strengthinharmony_. I'm a little salty about the underscore. I tried to buy Strength and Harmony from someone else and they ignore me. So anyways, add that underscore, baby. And where else? I did download Threads, so you might catch me saying something funny or interesting there. I'm not really too deep into it yet. I don't have anything really profound to say on there, but if you want the raw, unfiltered Alex right now, maybe catch me on Threads.
Hell yeah. And same at, you just copy straight over from Instagram. Same thing.
Yep. Alex Hates Running.
Okay. Well, we'll end the podcast there. I'm gonna stop the recording and hang out for just 2 seconds. Thank you everyone for being here, and we will catch y'all next time.